They're beating on him like he stole Christmas. But he's tough. He's tough as a pine knot, and the man's got guts.
That's Louisiana Senator John Kennedy last night on Fox News. He defended Elon Musk for what he calls a courageous stand for the First Amendment, unless, of course, you're talking about Elon's private jet, and then the First Amendment doesn't apply. The senator forgot to mention how Musk had just placed an asterisk on what speech is protected. The whole point of the First Amendment, Elon and Senator, is speech for that which you disagree with. The left, of course, say Musk is the Twitter gatekeeper who is now allowing extremists to spew hate online. The right says Musk is a free speech patriot to the likes of Paul Revere. In reality, he is the world's second richest man who can't figure out what now to do with his $44 billion toy and is trying not to crash it. I say second richest man because his other company, Tesla, is losing money faster than Elon can tweet, literally. Tesla used to be worth $1 trillion. Now it's worth half of that. There's a lot of stockholders are really angry. Tesla's market drop is worth the equivalent of 3 Disneys, 4 Nikes, or 6 Starbucks. Let that sink in. $700 billion evaporated. Colby Hall's here, founding editor at Mediaite, America's premier website about the news, on balance, resident philosopher. What say you about the Jack Sweeney controversy?
I think it's fascinating, and credit to Jack Sweeney, for the mouths of Babe, this 20-year-old kid, really put Elon Musk's, he's putting him to test. And I think Elon Musk is, revealing that he didn't think this through. It's clearly situational ethics. It's very easy to say that you want to defend free speech, but when you suddenly have people talking about hate speech or doxing or jokes, it's really situational. And so, he decided when he was being outed and he didn't like it, he'd change the rules, which, by the way, was the very thing that he, claimed the last regime did against Trump. They just banned him for changing the rules. Well, that's what happened. So I think Elon Musk, Jack Sweeney is proving to Elon Musk, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And he's kind of embarrassed himself. And I don't think the story is done because right now he's lost a lot of cred. I'm reminded of the Animal Farm, all animals are created equal, but some animals are more equal than others. No, free speech needs to apply to everyone, especially the second richest person who owns Twitter.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend $44 billion to reinstate a satire blog. This is Elon talking to Bari Weiss, who I guess you could now a little bit question her objectivity in this. I did it because I was worried about the future of civilization, which takes a sort of extreme amount of hubris to say. That said, that he's really politicized himself, right? He used to be sort of this guy who was liked by the left and the right. And you think about it, 2015, if you bought a Tesla, you were sort of made fun of as a Bernie bro, environmentalist, kind of quacky person who paid too much for cars. We have a few bumper stickers that sort of show exactly what we're talking about here. There's the 2015 Tesla driver. Now we move to 2022. And I'm not sure there's a lot of Bernie bros who would have Teslas, but maybe you have a Make America Great Again Trump 2024 sticker with Don't Tread on Me. Is Tesla going to be left with any customers at the end of this?
Well, I think that you're onto something, and kudos again to your graphic designer who always does outstanding work. But I will tell you straight up that I think that's really what's at play here. I think he saw that a lot of conservatives were leaving Twitter, so he bought Twitter, and he has this performative free speech, pro sort of kind of trollish, own the libs vibe, and, to try to make, conservatives return to Twitter as a safe place. But I think bigger is that he knows that progressives will buy Teslas because it's good for the environment. But he needs to open up that market. The electric vehicle market is suddenly saturated. So what better way than to try to appeal to conservatives to say, okay, finally, you're going to buy an electric vehicle. Elon's my guy. I'm going to support Tesla and buy that. And I think it's pretty genius if that works out. I'm not sure that that's exactly it, but it seems like a smart marketing play. He's also sort of offending his progressive base of Tesla buyers.
Yeah, and now there are more options for the progressive buyers to go buy electric cars. There's a lot of other electric cars that they can go buy. But look, either there's sort of mad genius here or there's extreme hubris or perhaps a combination, a little bit of both. It reminds me of another guy, Donald Trump, who used to say all these crazy things on Twitter and just could not get out of the ecosystem and just sort of burn through media coverage. Any coverage was good coverage. He loved the fight, loved being part of the conversation. Now he was running for president. Elon's not. But, Trump Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.